Ali, 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 yeah. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank the blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7.
Islamism without the schism. Want to rise upon the 7 within the circle of justice, mercy, love, and right, and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to His holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Al-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal. We give honors to our Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution and Bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything. And I do mean everything that our holy prophet brought to make us a nation. But let us call forth our beloved Consul General of the territory of Iowa, Dr. Bati Bey. And as he opened up our hearts and minds, may we also allow him to open up the way. Islam. Peace and love.
Islam. First, I'd like to rise to give our man of praise to Allah, honors to the Prophet, honors to our theocratic government, our royal council, our flag, seal, emblem, our divine constitution, our swift angels, Mufti, citizens alike, honors to all the Moors that are here in attendance, all the ones that will be, all the ones in the sound of my voice. And with that, I will begin with our ancient Canadian Adept Moorish American prayer. Ye Allah abnu haru makunetaru, Ye Allah abhet haru, Ye Allah ma'at haru, Ye Allah hotep haru, Ye Allah haru, Ye Allah ma'at haru kuti, Ye Allah awajejuti, Ye Allah pertim sutek pertim haru, Ye Allah bamaduti, al hedis subsisre abtu ali. Ameen. Aliusa, Aliusa, Aliusa. And that is to say, O Allah, the Father of the universe, O Allah, the Father of love, O Allah, the Spirit of truth, O Allah, the Spirit of peace, O Allah, the Spirit of freedom, O Allah, the Spirit of justice, O Allah, you are my protector, O Allah, you are my guide, O Allah, you are my salvation by night and by day, O Allah, through your holy prophet, O Allah, Drew Ali. Ameen. Holy Isa, Holy Isa, Holy Isa. And with the recitation of our Moorish American Adept Committee in prayer, I will now move on to our divine constitution and bylaws. Salvation, our God, unity, the divine constitution of Moorish America. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the chairman of Moorish America are empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the grand body of Moorish America. The assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs, if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the citizens of Moorish America. The bylaws. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7, and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is a holy day of rest, because on a Friday, the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is a holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens of Moorish America. No citizen is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all they may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All citizens must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. No organization of Moorish America is to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all citizens must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. And this is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All citizens must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a partial of all uplifting acts of Moorish America. Moorish Americans must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of Moorish America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, peace and blessings be upon him, founding father and framer of the divine constitution and bylaws of Moorish America. And with the opening of our meeting, we'll now turn the meeting back over to Denver Kirk Bay for the reading of the chapter of the week, Islam.
Islam. Gratitude, Council General of our Gratitude. Islam family. I am the National Assistant Grand Secretary of State, Dr. Dendra Ani Bay. First, let me rise and give praises to our great God Allah. I give honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to Act 1. I give honors to all my government officials. I give honors to our National Assistant Grand Sheik for this powerful class this morning. And I give honors to our Council General for opening us up according to law. I will now read our chapter of the week, chapter 6, coming from our Holy Quran. The life and works of Yehoshua at the age of 10 years. The great feast of Jews was on, and Joseph, Mary, and their son, and many of their kin went to Jerusalem. The child was 10 years old, and Yehoshua watched the butchers kill the lambs and birds and burned them on the altar in the name of Allah. His tender heart was shocked at this display of cruelty. He asked the servant priest, "What is the purpose of this slaughter of the beasts and birds? Why do you burn their flesh before Allah?" The priest replied, "This is our sacrifice for sin. Allah has commanded us to do these things and said that in sacrifice all our sins are blotted out." And Yehoshua said, "Will you be kind enough to tell when Allah proclaimed that sins are blotted out by sacrifice of any kind? Did not David say that Allah requires not a sacrifice for sin, that it is sin itself to bring before his face burnt offerings for sin? Did not Isaiah say the same? The priest replied, My child, you are beside yourself. Do you know more about the law of Allah than all of Israel? This is no place for boys to show their wit. But Yehoshua heeded not his taunts. He went at once to Heliah and said to him, Rabboni, I would like to talk with you. I am disturbed about this service. I thought the temple was the house of Allah, where love and kindness dwell. Do you not hear the bleeping of those lambs, the pleading of those doves that men are killing over there? Do you not smell the awful stench of burning flesh? Can you be kind and just and still be with cruelty? Filled with cruelty, and a law that takes delight in burning flesh and blood is not a law of love. He is not my father. I want to find the law of love. And you, my master, you are wise, and surely you can tell me where to find the law of love. But Heliah could not give an answer to the child. His heart was stirred with sympathy. He called the child to him. He laid his hand upon his head and wept. He said, There is an law of love, and you shall come with me, and hand in hand we will go and find a law of love. And Yehoshua said, Why need we go? I thought Allah was everywhere. Can we not purify our hearts and drive out cruelty and every wicked thought and make within a temple wherein a law of love can dwell? The master of the great courts felt as though he was himself a child, and that before him stood a master of all the laws. He said within himself, The child is surely a prophet sent of Allah. Then Heliah sought the parents of the child and asked that Yehoshua might abide with him and learn the precepts of the laws and all the lessons of the temple. His parents gave consent, and Yehoshua did abide in the temple every day. And every day the master learned from Yehoshua many lessons of higher life. And the child remained in the temple of Heliah for a year, and then returned to his home in Nazareth. And there he walked with Joseph as a carpenter. Islam, Islam, Islam. We will now turn everything back over to our host, our National Sister Grand Sheik, Dr. Sadu Amiti Elma Sepsuel. Islam, are you there, God man?
Islam, can you hear me, sister?
Islam, I can hear you well. Gratitude.
Gratitude. Can you hear me clearly without any chopping or anything?
Yes, it's coming clear on my end.
Okay.
Yes.
I just want to make sure.
Islam.
Because I'm hearing some like feedback noise coming through here.
Okay.
Just want to make sure everything is clear on y'all end. Give me 1 second here, family. Just trying to get my little hydration going on. Let me see here. Give me 1 second. Okay. I'm gonna do it this way here. Lost me now. Praise be to Allah. Yeah, we got a grand class that we getting ready to bring forth. So, hopefully our family that's out there watching, they'll get a chance to basically tune in and really get the gist of what it is that we have to bring forth, when it comes to dealing with the enlightenment of our people. We can't use the hammer of repetition enough, but there are certain points that we want to make. Now that we went over a lot of the history, we want to place a lot of things in context. This is what we're going to be doing in a second here. We're going to revisit some things, and this is definitely going to be an open discussion, with the scribes. As we go through this special measure just to refresh us, because we're going to try to utilize what we already know as well to go deeper into some of the information that we done already went over, mashallah. Allah is definitely leading on. The victory is sure. So you got a little ground to cover, not too much. We're going to take it at a pace, and that way all of our people can get some growth out of this demonstration, mashallah. We want to always make sure that our people are really being able to tune into what it is that we have to bring to them and what it is that we have to offer, so that it's actually fulfilling when they get these special lessons and blessings. Because if we don't bring them to them, then who will? So yeah, this is definitely going to be a powerful drawing, family. When we go into the essence of it, we're going to pick up where we left off at yesterday, mashallah. And once we go deeper into it, this is actually one of the easiest portions, I think, of our languages. The main thing that we have to really emphasize on is going deeper into the hieratic to give our people insight, and also giving our people some insight into the Arabic as well. So yeah, we got a little ground to cover, but not a lot of ground to cover. And like I said, we're gonna come out more knowledgeable than we was prior to coming in. We always growing. And that's the great thing about coming into this concept of scribesmanship, so to speak. It's just endless possibilities for growth, when it comes to dealing with this information. And we have most definitely made it more easier for our people who truly want to learn. If they've been paying attention, you can't help but be elevated by this information when it comes to linguistics. That's pretty much the lifeline. All right, now all is well. So yeah, that's the lifeline of the information. Okay, we got one of our brothers here. Let's see. Okay, the brother said, one, when you think, thought, and thought talk. Your third eye, your bird eye, your eagle eye. Okay, brother, all is well. Signs and symbols for conscious mind and men and women of understanding. So, scribes, I want to ask y'all, did y'all get that email I just sent a few minutes ago? Because I sent out an email too.
I'm looking right now.
Okay, it's something you already probably have in your archives, but just so you don't have to for it, it's the Coptic lessons. So you say
I got the email.
Okay, I just want to make sure that you all have it, because we're gonna get you to go to a particular area. In fact, it will be page 11 if you're looking at it in the open PDF form. And this is where we're dealing with table 1 to 25 Coptic letters that they claim to be adopted from the Greek letters, but we know better. And that's going to be some of the stuff we touch on as we go through this special demonstration. And we'll get into it in a second. But I just want to make sure everybody got it. You got it too, Sister Dendra? Okay, our Sister Dendra must be occupied right now. So, well, we know our family have it so far, already. That's a grand thing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start right off. And like I said, this is going to be an open discussion, kind of Q&A and combo back and forth between, me and the scribe. So I'm going to just hit entire screen. Hopefully that alleviate all the other extra stuff. Let's see him. Share that. Okay. And scribes, can you see the screen being shared? And me going to the actual PDFs over here. Well, they ain't PDFs. This is actually active.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can see me changing the screen.
Yes.
Okay, gratitude, Islam. Okay, so we're gonna use some of this, and we're gonna use that alphabet chart basically to deal with some transliteration, as it relates to dealing with some of these words or whatever. But we'll get into that a little later. I just want to go into a few areas. One, being the area of understanding the alphabet, as we are dealing with what we call the Hekapta. In other words, the words are the language of the house of Ptah. That's what we mean when we say Hekapta. If you notice, there is no Egyptian name for the Greek language, so-called Greek language. And this in and of itself lets you know that it's not in the line of anything that relates to dealing with the ancestors outside of the misnomer that has been created and called Greek. So the buck stopped at what we call Hekapta, and there are various different dialects, 7 different dialects of the Hekapta, the Coptic language, as they like to call it. Coptic is the Greek form of saying it. So, we say Hekapta. So I would like to start by asking, our scribes that are here with us in, like I say, this open discussion. First and foremost, where did the Hekapta come from? What language did it evolve out of? When we get in the line, as we know the order that the language was manifest. That's the first question I would like to ask.
Islam?
Islam, beloved brother.
Didn't, if I'm correct, the demonic.
That's right. That's correct. What in specific, is the portion that actually came out of the demonic? Because the Hekapta is its own language in its own way. But it also, there are certain elements that came out of the demonic. And what are those elements, good brother, if you can recall? Or scribes in general.
It was it just the consonants?
There is a difference between the vowel and the consonants. Yes, so there's a connection actually to, what they call the different vowelic sounds, so to speak, that they try to distinguish between Greek and Coptic, so to speak. In fact, I'm going to show it to you real quick. So it's 32 letters normally in Coptic, right? And then they say the difference between Coptic and Greek, which we can see all of these 25 are the same. Every last one of these letters that they call, and this is why I said ain't no such thing as Greek. And we know that Greek did not come behind Demotic. It was Coptic that came behind Demotic. That's how we catch Western academia in the lie. Because if we say that Coptic derived from Demotic and they agree on that, then how can it come from Greek and Demotic unless they saying Demotic is really Greek? What you think about that, scribes?
Islam?
It's plain and
That
clear,
makes
right?
sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's plain and clear. We ain't got to go and get no attestations for that. Either it came from Coptic or it came from Greek. You know what I mean? First, as far as dealing with the language, we know Coptic was the last. We can tell by the fact that it was named Hekapta, but we look at Greek. Greek doesn't have a Kemetic derivative as a name. Have y'all found the name that refers to Greek in a Kemetic name?
No.
No.
You know, it's been so-called Greek long as we know it, right?
Exactly.
But even the people that are called Greek were called another people before that. See, we're going to touch on, because they tell you that the Coptic originated around a certain time. And they'll go back to, well, they go into the Demotic and all that too. But they'll go back to like around, I want to say 600 BC, you know, around the time when Demotic, you know, was also being used, but there was a transitional period. You know, it's based on who you're reading it from, really. But this is important that we know this because we want to know how the people looked at were there. Because we understand that the Eurocentric people was up in there. We understand that the native were there too. You know, there was two people, and the natives were often referred to as what in some of the records that we read that come from the Ptolemaic period family. What did they derogatorily refer to the natives as?
I don't know that. Yeah, it's not.
They referred to them as rebels.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, that's coming right out of the papyri.
Yeah, they referred to them as rebels. You know, so we want to see how the rebels look because we already know how the perpetrator look. We already pulled them pictures up, you know, when we go back to dealing with, you know, a certain time period, you know, a 300 or 33 BC. You know, we already seen what the Ptolemies look like. We done been into these things a couple of times and it definitely don't look nothing like our people do it.
Not at all.
So this is key. Once you understand that, then you know who doing the remixing. You know, and why we get to talk about Alexander the Greek. You know, and all the Roman history and then the Latin that come from that. That's Western academia's way of where they are able to superimpose themselves in the history unbeknownst to those who are listening. And then they go to calling this classical history and classical philosophy. How many of y'all that went through the European school are familiar with this so-called classical Greek history and philosophy? Scribe.
Yeah. I didn't recall them saying that. They're trying to say that I remember them saying that this was the most ancient language was Greek. I remember them saying that, but I haven't.
Okay, you haven't heard of which part, Grandman?
I haven't heard them call it classical because I heard them say that Greek was the oldest language. I heard them
Okay.
push that narrative.
Yeah, well, they definitely call it that. What about you, Grand Secretary of the State?
They didn't use that term when I was coming up either, as far as classical history or philosophy.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you think that's more?
they may have used it in terms of when I was still with music, Mozart, etc., as far as the classical, but nothing in reference to the Greek aspect.
Okay, so you think that's maybe more of a more recent way of them trying to refer to it in a romanticized aspect?
Yes.
Maybe in this, because let's go right here
I
real
had to
quick.
do the research.
Okay, see where it says classical Greek alphabet. I just type it in. You know what I mean? But I just guided it, let it do what it do. Classical Greek, and they added Greek alphabet, right? So I'm just gonna hit the images of this stuff right here, because they use the term classical, you know, a few times in some of the alphabet charts too. But the thing is, we can see all of these are the same symbols that are commonly used in what we call, the Coptic. See it right here?
Islam.
See what that's? And that's
So
just,
what?
go
Pardon.
ahead,
So
Grand Secretary.
what is their definition of the classical?
Well,
Referring back
basically,
to ancient times.
yeah, really, it's just a term to try to put endearment and romanticize. It really have no real meaning to me personally, but I'm just saying this is what they try to use, the term they try to use to fluff it up, to fluff up what they have, to make it sound like it's something else. See, this is actually coming from a university right here, UNC, classical studies, right? And so when we get into this right here, they, like I said, and look at here, there you go, that date. There they go. Look at here. The classical period for Greek stretches from about 750 BC. That's around the time a few years before Demotic come into existence, and really going into the time 330 BC where Alexander the Greek go to coming in there. You know what I mean? During this lifetime, different dialects develop in different areas. See, this is why we point this out. The Attic dialect was spoken around Athens, and much of the great literature, it says, was therefore written in this dialect, right? So we got to understand who the original Attic were. That's a whole nother measure, because some people that are being referred to as Greek, there was other names that they were being referred to, when we get into the indigenous people of that place, that before this pale skin Greek came on the manifest, you had your Etruscans, your Minoans, your Kiftihu, your Attics even. You understand where I'm coming from? And if you don't know the history, then you actually begin to think that these was all the people that was there, was basically of a pale skin nature, so to speak. You see, and so they go into showing, how these different terms was used in reference to these letters. So, and they show the alphabet right here from what they call the classical Greek period. Be sure to take a look at how this looks, because it's going to be very key in a minute. Now we look at this here. This is no different than what we have up right here, actually, in this Coptic build up. Same thing. My thing is why is one language being referred to with two names? See, you have alpha, beta, veta. We just see a sound shift here, beta. We know the B is interchangeable with the V, right? Gamma. It's the same. Delta. E, epsilon. Even though this is epsilon in Greek, it's still dealing with the same expression. It's the portion that's more important. Su. Then they say, well, not used as a Greek letter here, right? Then we have zeta, seta, eta, eta, theta, iota, kappa, lambda, which is the B is interchangeable again, and this is actually lambda, but the la is the root, so it's neither here nor there. Me, mu, still the same thing. Ne, nu, exi, it's the same thing. Exi, you see right here. Omicron, pe, p, rho, sigma, tav, ta, epsilon, upsilon, phi, pi. We see the sound shifting. Ke, kai, epsi, psi. So we see O and omega. So basically, this is the same alphabet, but they want you to believe that this one came first. And like I say, they go to using terminology such as classical Greek. As we seen over here, they refer to this, talking about our first evidence for Greek language comes from Linear B tablets which date to the late Bronze Age, 1200 BC. You see how far they tried to take Greek back?
Yes.
Now, the word Greek didn't even exist back then. So what they're really referring to is what they would call ancient Greek. And they're really trying to refer to Phoenician. They're trying to take the Phoenician because they know that the Phoenician is the root of the alphabet from whence all other alphabet really evolved up into the modern time. So they're going to claim that as being Greek. You see, we got all the tablets. We got all the alphabet charts. We're going to show it. We done been through it before, but it's very important. Here's the measure our chairman talked about corn Greek. And this right here, they say come, and he called it Arab living Greek. Ad living, other words, street slang. And this was language spoken by the regular people from 330 BC. So this is where your corn Greek come in at. They used to think it was a base form of Greek, a vulgar form, some people say, especially used by the Hebrews, more or less a translation of the Old Testament. Why were the Hebrews using this right here? It wasn't that they were using Greek language. They were using the language that evolved out of Phoenician. So what they are calling Greek again, or biblical Greek, really is just another transition from the Phoenician language, which is also the same thing that connects up to the Coptic. So we can actually say that there's a strong connection between what we call the Heka and Phoenician, which would really take the Coptic language further back than what we have been stating the Coptic language is. Our brother Mustafa Gadala actually alludes to this as well, in his works, that Coptic was actually older than what they said. Y'all familiar reading about that in brother Mustafa Gadala's work, Scribes?
Say that last sentence again, Mo.
No, I said, are you familiar with Mustafa Gadala mentioning Coptic as being older than what the Greek so-called scholars said was?
Yes.
Islam. So, looking at this, like I said, we understand how these people have tried to superimpose themselves into the history. And the reason why we have to keep saying this, because we are up against Western academia anytime we speaking on what's original. So we have to go back here. That way our people don't get it twisted when it comes to dealing with this information. You see, they even use terms like archaic Greek alphabets, and now look at it. That's straight Phoenician right there. Straight Phoenician, but they calling it archaic Greek. You see, and they've been getting away with this for so long because nobody never called them on it. Archaic, ancient, all these different terms that they're using. And for example, this is what it was, have a lot of the Bibles being translated in this language. But that's really Phoenician. That's really, the same thing that comes into Heka. That's really the same thing that becomes known as also Old Nubian, which they try to act like come from Greek. How is Old Nubian going to come from Greek? When most of the Greek influence, as they call it, so-called, was in other regions like the lower part of the Nile and not necessarily in the upper region. Now we got this right here. I'm going to click on this because we got this in our slide. This is a prime example right here. If you notice, look at what it says. The alphabet Hekapti, or Egyptian. Now this is actually all them alphabets with the 32. This is all 32 letters here. With the Greek next to it, so-called. With the only 25 letters minus the 7. So this is the original. When you look at it, it's the same thing here. You can actually see it even being wrote out here. You can see the alpha, the vita, we can see the gamma, the Dada, the A, the Soul, the Zida, the Hida, the Tida. We can see it right here. You know, but this is alphabet of the Coptic, the Egyptian, Hekapta, Egyptian, because the word Egyptian is just a corruption of the word Hekapta. Now, going into this, once we understand this, it's easy to see the remix that take place. But what we want to do, we want to link the people up with this. You know, which people were which and who were the people that were being mentioned during this time period. We showed a lot of these pictures to our people, you know, going into the stolen legacy and everything that has been hidden. But want to go further into detail. And let's go further into this document here, because this is where we actually go to show our people the many different forms that they tried to use to come up with these alphabetical charts. Now, in this particular chart here, we tell you how everything evolves out of the hieratic. You see what comes after this: the hieratic, the Phoenician. And Phoenician Moabite stone, which is a black basalt stone with this particular alphabet style on it. Then you have what you call Phoenician Siloam inscription, which is where the Hebrews adopted their alphabet from here. But sometimes they were actually called this Hebrew. But both of them are being called Phoenician right here, if you notice. And it's the same alphabet. See what I'm saying? Same alphabet, little changes and variation there. You know, it's very important that we see this and pay attention to this, or we won't see the switcheroo. Here's another alphabet chart as well, which we show all the time. There it is. This is hieratic again. And then they have what they call in the Semitic alphabet, which is really Phoenician. You know, and they call it Paleo-Hebrew. And see, they have an alternate version of the Phoenician. See the same thing here, Semitic and Phoenician. All that evolving out of the hieratic. So when we get over here, now we get into the Greek area, you know, which these alphabets are, you know, an expression of this. See, they in abjad order. So this is, you know, a unical version, as they like to refer to it. Brother Mustafa Gadala refers to this. And even coming all the way into the Latin, so you can see the evolution out of this. So it comes from the Phoenician and not the Greek. Like I said, Greek is nothing more than a superimposing of a culture to act like the European were there, because without that tie, then they would be irrelevant when it comes to dealing with language. You understand that all language came from the ancestors. This chart, which was very a crude version that I had to reconstruct, and I used this Coptic alphabet, you know, next to the one, no, old boy. This is actually one of the ones that I want to say Acrobalet, or maybe even Champollion was using. You know, but they were comparing the Demotic letters to the Coptic here, showing the relation to them. And so I went and I put them in an abjad order over here, you know, to make sure everything was lined up, so to speak, you know, on the side. And then I have a better version that I created later, you know, which is actually attached to the email that I sent out last week, you know. And I get into that later. But these are Coptic letters being compared to Demotic letters, you know, all the way. You can see where it may be some that are missing. And that goes back to the letters that actually wasn't a part of the Demotic that was actually adopted in the Greek. You know, and what was adopted in what they call Hekapta. You see? So it's two different charts. This one here And then this is the last portion of it. And then you see here where Champollion is trying to compare his Hecopter to various different symbols. And some of these symbols in the alphabet chart that he have up here, like for example, this will be a W in certain chart. This represents the letter G in certain charts that he have, but he have them up here in the A realm. So this is where he was trying to put his little, we always tell you, trying to create his little chart or whatever. So a lot of these different symbols here that he was putting beside these symbols, he then limited, so to speak, these symbols to whatever it was he chose to try to come up with the Hecopter, and then he started calling that Greek. And that's how he got away with coming up with his own language that's based on the Rosetta Stone, because you don't see hieratic here, unless you say that hieratic is the same as Greek. Hieratic is the same as Hecopter. If that's the case, then they shouldn't be calling them by a different name. They should be calling them hieratic, but we know better. All these languages are considered different by Western modern academia. So if the hieratic alphabet wasn't present on the Rosetta Stone, then we already know that ain't nowhere in the world you can be trying to create a language when that stone didn't even exist. It didn't even exist in the physical form during the time of ancient Kemet. It was something that came into existence later, and that's why we keep saying that's how we know you couldn't use that to decipher something that was ancient. And I already know my scribes understand this logic. So the key in the link, the best kept secret is that they don't speak on what's supposed to be spoke on. Just like this right here. This is actually what is known as Meroitic. And Meroitic, though it has these pictorial expressions here, a lot of this is totally different from what Champollion tried to assign to his pictures. And this is more ancient than what Champollion had. But they would call this a pseudo alphabet. So a lot of the Demotic has connection also to this. Hieratic and Demotic, this is an admixture, so to speak. This Meroitic, which is a Nubian or Kushite language, it's an admixture, of both Demotic and hieratic, pretty much. And we can even say a little Coptic or whatever you want to call it, but this is Meroitic, a script of the Nubians. You see? So once we see the connections and how these things begin to evolve, we understand, where they begin to remix and remix these things. Same thing over here. They calling it Paleo-Hebrew, right? We already know when we go over here, we see this here. And we can definitely see the changes that were made to make this hieratic into what we call ancient Phoenician, how they adopted. We can see the similarities, though there'll be slight changes in certain shapes or turning of these measures. Then you go into Old Hebrew, you see the same alphabets and symbols, that are also a part of this. We show this all the time. But like I say, we're getting ready to put some context to this in a minute. But this is the key in order to get you to understand exactly what's going on. Okay. Even here, in where we adopted our particular alphabet, the Moorish alphabet that we came up with, we can see it here present, in this form of Egyptian. This is the same alphabet that's being called Greek, ancient Greek or archaic Greek, that is found as an Egyptian alphabet. So we can see the direct connection of this Egyptian alphabet, which is also called Carian. And look, it even links up to the Spanish. And guess what? These are the real vowels here, connected to this Egyptian language. But these are the same vowels that are found in the Meroitic. The A-E-I-O-U is here. Yeah. Look at that. You know, and here it is right here again. Same thing. A-E-I-O-U. This is what we based our Moorish alphabet that we created off of. We're going to get more into that later. Our Moorish alphabet is basically what we call Iberic Egyptian. And look, it has the same style and expression. They just have different variations of it, showing you the different letters. Almost like when we go into the hieratic and we see the different forms of certain letters. Same thing here. But this is the same thing, connected to the same alphabet that's basically often referred to as Phoenician. This is the most universal style of alphabet that has been adopted all the way across the board. Prime example right here. I just showed you the Iberic Egyptian. Now look at this. The same thing. We can't make this stuff up, people. Look at it. Look at it. So look at all of these different things that are being called. Okay, we have Phoenician here. Moabite, Ceylon, we just showed you that earlier. That's the same thing as Phoenician. Then it goes into Belur. It goes into Sidon, Umael, Cyprus, Greece, as they calling it. And it's the same alphabet, people. It's the same alphabet. Malta, Marseilles, Carthaginian, which are the real ancestors of when the Moors come, the Pthites, and they settled in Carthage or Libya. You know, they even refer to this as a Libico-Berber. You know, Thugger, we know that's also of the Moorish people. Even the Constantine people tried to adopt the form of it. Neo-Punic. Punic is a form of writing that goes all the way back to the Phoenicians. There are Punic tablets that are referred to as cuneiform marks. So all of these are falling under Phoenician. So if the most ancient attestation is Phoenician, which also goes back to also Egyptian, because we've seen the connection between the Egyptian culture and the Phoenician culture well, then we understand why Mustafa Gadala say everything goes back to Kemet. And then you see this Hebrew, modern Hebrew. This is modern Hebrew that we see here. A lot of time we think that's ancient. No, this is the modern form, Box Hebrew, you know, which is often referred to as Yiddish sometimes. You know, that was adapted from these particular letters and writings. So what can you see right here in what we're showing you, scribes, before I move ahead and move any further so far?
You see the connectivity not only in the language, but in the people.
There you go.
It, you know, is more ancient than the so-called remix of Greek.
That's right. So how can we call this, as they say, the Greece right here, same alphabet, how can we call this ancient Greek when it's really Phoenician? And if we do this, what's really happening? Is that not deceptive?
It's colonization.
Yeah.
It's deceptive, ain't it?
Very.
Yeah, burying the people.
It's burying the people.
Yeah.
That's right. And what happened when our people accept the history that's given and saying that this is Greek without doing the research and knowing that it's really Phoenician? They go to arguing with you, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's also part of the problem why, you know, the majority of our people still don't know this now.
That's right. And when they start arguing against us, they really arguing for the European.
Right.
Arguing in defense of the European. Ain't that something? Now, while claiming that they Pan-African too. And revolutionary. So now when we go here, like I said, a lot of people don't know. We also showed that outside of this being Phoenician, we showed you the connection to Egypt, which goes back. And you know, sometimes they put them hand in hand because Phoenicia is part of Sumerian culture. And Sumer and Egypt, you know, pretty much when it comes to language, you know, they put them running hand in hand. But we found the oldest attestation of the alphabet actually comes from Kemet. We know that. You know, the HLM and the ABG, the abjad, all that come from Kemet. That was in our last classes that we just had recently. So it don't shock us. So now when we look at this monument and we see here where they have pictorials up top, which means nothing. But look at what they have here down bottom. What language is that, people?
Look like Phoenician to me.
It is. That's exactly, but it's actually Egyptian. Remember, because we showed it to you in the Egyptian form, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, so who really are the Phoenicians?
Egyptian.
Met.
Do you see what I'm saying? What it really is, the proper aspect will be Cushites. And yes, they will be Kemet, but they the Cushites because remember, it was the Cushites that actually established Kemet. But it was also the Cushites that actually established the Sumer culture. So that would make this ancient Cushitic language in the proper terminology, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was the Cushites that became the Kemites. It was the Cushites that became the Phoenicians. And they tell you in the Piscean records that Nimrod was a Cushite. And at the Tower of Babel, they had one language. And we see that one expression. Now, this is that we ain't even really been dealing with this. You know, we mostly deal with going into the hieratic, Demotic, and, you know, we touch on the Phoenician, but we haven't went into this actual history. And see, this what we teaching is coming from the root. So, yeah, it's against what Western academia taught. So automatically, you already know those who are indoctrinated, they're going to fight us tooth and nail on this. When they should be jumping for joy that we exposing this. This is actually another monument as well. You see, comedically, you know, and I got it blowed up too big. But you see it here. Look at the language there, people. That's neither hieratic nor demotic. What alphabet do y'all see there?
Phoenician.
Phoenician.
Yeah.
So now, being that this derives directly from the hieratic, which we've seen the one-for-one comparison between this, right? Especially if we go into the hieratic master key. Since Phoenician derived directly out of the hieratic, then we should be using Phoenician or the alphabets that align with Phoenician to bring about transliterations and not Greek. You understand? And this is a work that we're going to have to embark upon. You know, seeing what transliterations come out of using the alignment of the Phoenician alphabet with the hieratic. Because they are some, it's a little difference in a lot of them once you go into dealing with it based upon the sound shifting aspects. So certain things that we have accepted as certain words will be different in the way that we express them. But that's something that hasn't been done. And it would have made more sense to use the Phoenician because Phoenician is what gave birth, like I say, to the more modern form of the alphabet. Everything else coming after that was superimposed into that. And then there were modifications that were made. We're going to go into this in a minute as it relates to the Hekapta. So the Hekapta is basically a direct descendant, you know, of coming through from the Phoenician as well. You see? Meaning in its alphabetical form. Here's a drawing here of the Coptic alphabet. Here it is all together. Notice it says Coptic alphabet, right? Okay, here's the Coptic alphabet here. You know, as we showed it to you a few minutes ago, like what they like to call Greek again. You know, they have the abjad order. We can see the sound shifting they also placed in here. You know, then they go into showing you the words and letters that they tried to come up with and compare to the Greek, you know, as it relates to their little Champollion system that was created. I showed y'all this a few minutes ago. This particular alphabet chart here, the alphabet Coptic of Egyptian, you know, and then now here's Champollion's tableau designs of phonetics. And here he is. Remember, I was showing you that other chart I had come up with and showed you the comparisons a few minutes ago. Look at it, it's saying Greek here, right? But this is really Coptic. That's being called Greek. You know, so this is all a part of the Greek mix and him comparing these symbols. And this is how he came up with his signs. So if Greek is what he's basing, you know, his decipherment off of, and y'all seen me when I created my own pictorial and I had y'all create your own chart using whatever alphabet you wanted. And it came out that way. So technically, when we look at Champollion's decipherment, so-called, being that he adapted what he called Greek, you know, to pictures, and we know Greek is not hieratic. We know Greek is not demotic, even though he tried to put the symbols on the side here. In comparison, these are different languages. That means that his decipherment would be based on what he calls Greek or even Coptic. Coptic is not demotic, neither is Coptic hieratic. You see what I'm saying? Because the Coptic came into existence after demotic and hieratic. So again, being that these languages are different from the ancient Egyptian language, and they wasn't in existence, and the hieratic, there never been a one-for-one. If you're dealing with hieratic paper that has been transcribed in the pictures, it's going to be different than what the so-called Coptic that they come up with, or the Hebrew, or the Greek. So basically, all they are doing are transliterating symbols into what they call the Greek or the Coptic language, which is still not hieratic. So you see the problem that we have here, family, when we come to dealing with trying to transliterate something by Champollion's methodology. That pulled a whole cover off the demonstration right there. Correct, scribes?
Yes, because it's not
Yes,
founded
sir.
in truth.
It's not founded in truth. You know, so really you working with Greek letters when Greek didn't exist during ancient Kemet. So are you really transliterating anything when you transliterating basing on the system? You may doing it under the Ptolemaic system, but you ain't doing it according to the ancient Egyptians. Because in order to transliterate according to the ancient Egyptians, you got to transliterate hieratic. Unless, again, you believe hieratic and Coptic is the same thing. I want to ask my scribe, is hieratic and Coptic the same language, Moors?
No.
No.
Not at all. So somebody has been misled. Somebody has been run amok. I'm not moving anything. So, okay, yeah, somebody done been misled. Because it can't be both languages. It can't even be, and even if it's based on the Coptic, you know, the Coptic alone, you know, we already know that there are some changes by the time it comes into the Hekapta, out of the Phoenician, into the Greek, as they call it. There's some changes there. So you got a couple of languages that if you wanted to, you can put pictures beside, and it's going to say something different based upon each one of those alphabetical charts that you use. Right or wrong, scribes?
Correct.
Correct.
They are different languages. And it's important that we make this statement and harp upon this in order to give our people some insight. You know, and we actually going a little deeper, even though we're using the hammer of repetition, we're going a little deeper. You know, actually, you know, so here we go. Here's a chart here, right? Here's the same alphabets that come out, and they got a whole bunch of different names up here than the other ones we showed y'all. And a lot of these are going into the Greek realm. It starts with Semitic, and then it goes into Attica. Remember we was talking about the Attic? So we know that's still talking about the ancient, this would be what they call the Etruscan, the original people that was there before the European got there. You know, then they have Funkies. They got all types of stuff, but they get up in the Carinthia. They come all the way up here, and they talk about, look like that. I think that's still, yeah, like an Eastern version of another language. But all of this would evolve into their Greek of the modern time, so to speak. You know, and then we go back to this Egyptian chart here again, and we see the same thing that we seen on them Egyptian monuments that was being referred to. We called it Phoenician, but it's really Egyptian, same thing. So we established that. And now when we go back to the form of the alphabet we was looking at when we first started, and we look at Old Nubian, Old Nubian is basically Coptic. But most of the biblical doctrines that have been translated were translated from Old Nubian texts. So what they have been called the Greek text is really Old Nubian. So they still it, even when it comes to the biblical text. Is this not the same alphabet that's referred to earlier as Coptic and also Greek family?
Yes.
Same exact alphabet. And then they got all the, you know, other letters that's actually utilized here. If you go back to that other text over here, you'll see that all them letters that's right over here to the side is right over here in the Old Nubian. We can't make this stuff up, people. Where we at? Yeah, we can't make it up. All we got to do is pay attention. You know, so this is really still the Heka. Old Nubian and Heka is basically the same thing. Here it is again. This is also Old Nubian. Same alphabet. So we got to do better. We got to stop letting people tell us anything and being gophers or going for it. So now what we have here are the various different dialects of what we call Heka. You got your Sahidic, you got your Fahimic. It's a couple of them. All you got to do is go and look them up. 7 different dialects. This is one of them. But notice this, though it's Coptic, it's being referred to as Egyptian. Look at that. Now watch this. So this is outside of hieratic, demotic, Heka. These are the different variations of Heka. This is the first one. This is the second one. These are only variations, like I said, of Heka. Notice they are all referred to as Egyptian, though. You see how many different forms of alphabet that is? So any nation can adapt the alphabet from either one of these and then call it by another name and then make it something in their culture. And this is what's been going on. They've been drawing from various different dialects, you know, of the Egyptian language you know, and also Egyptian language E.A.R.S, and coming up with their own languages. And then people that don't know no better been going for it and calling it by that. Does this look familiar, family? That's the same thing that was found on them Egyptian monuments, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing going into what we call the Phoenician style of writing. Also, the Iberic Egyptian and all of that. Here's another chart here with it there. See, it says Egyptian inscription.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these things are also being referred to as Aramaic if people don't know no better. Look at that. But you don't really hear people talk about this that much. This is the same alphabet that's found right up here, where we was earlier. Again, to make it plain. Right there. Book 'em Dano. We got them. Go ahead, Brother Bati Bey.
It's like when you line up the Portuguese language, the Latin language, Castellana, Spanish, and the Puerto Rican language, and the Cuban. They all have the same. Real talk. They all have the same alphabetical structure, but they formulate their words in different formats or different dialects, so it looks different. They knew what they were doing when they switched it and tried to say it was Greek because Greek, but they didn't think that we were gonna do all this. So, you know, they was counting on laziness, and it went back and bit them in the yes. Yeah.
That's right. Because when we go right back here, there it is. And this is just one dialect of, like I said, the Coptic. And same thing down here. The same alphabet, man. Same thing that was found on the monuments. You know, and here's another expression, the seventh dialect of Coptic or Hekapta. And we want our family to study, you know, these dialects. That's what we end up putting out there for assignment. You know what I mean? So we can go on and on with this special demonstration. But we know that all of these things come forth from our ancestors. Just like we was able to show. And this is the only only attestation here, you know, which is known as Muda. See that? This is the Muda. And look at that Muda. This is Himyar. This is Southern Arabia, and this is what we call Northern Arabia. But these are both Kushite script. This is what Ge'ez and Amharic, you know, they related to this, which is known as the Sabian script. You see? And then we have the Sabian here. This is two different versions of Sabian script. One is Himyar. This is referred to as by Ibn Khaldun in his Muqaddimah, when he gave the history, and he said that the original Arabic alphabet, you know, in the Quran was written in Muda. This would be like Arabic without the vowels. And, you know, these original versions were burnt up. But Mustafa Gadala, and, you know, thanks to him, and I had already did my research, you can see that Muda is nothing more than Demotic style of writing. You see what I'm saying? Only difference is when you look at the Arabic, you see the diacritical marks in the vowels. So it changed. But when you look at it without it, and we know a lot of these things that we show, like the name Allah and all that, they'll come up out of it. So we know what alphabets gave birth to what alphabets. We pretty much able to teach this stuff. You see what I'm saying? Look, they have Mauritania, Arabia right here. Look at the symbols here. Slightly different, but they still have a derivative going back to that Demotic. This is also Mauritanian, Arabic, basically from the Moors. This alphabet is used in Morocco, Fez, and the northern parts of Africa. See the Abjad, ABGDH, it's right here. We already know when we see that Abjad, we definitely can see the connections. Now, being that I showed you all of this, like I say, we're going to focus on this in a minute. We're going to utilize, the alphabet to see what we can go into this and find in a minute. We're going to actually put that out there as a homework, so to speak. We're going to just identify the letters. But I really want to go into this particular area here. Now we understand, we understand that these people referred to as the Kiftihu in the language of ancient Kemet. We see the hairstyle. We got to pay attention to that. The way that they wore their beards, because these things actually represented styles that was in reference to the status of the people. The way they wore their beard and their hair, that's what hairstyle represented back in Kemet. You can tell who the people were by the type of hair or the headdress that they had. Their hair was a headdress. You see? So, I put this here as a symbol because I seen it as a quadratic measure where we move from the center to the outer bound, but it's actually a Kiftahu plane sphere. We also look here, you can actually see the word Coptic. If you deal with sound shifting place of O here and the P is interchangeable with F, Coptic is actually what you would have here, if you were looking at it from that standpoint. So now that we've spoken again on this and we get into, the orthography as it relates to the Coptic alphabet. Remember I told you it contained 32 letters, right? Now, when we go into this special drawing, look, they had a Greek alphabet right on the side. Same alphabets, the only difference is it's 7 more letters that are in the Coptic that are not in the Greek. You see? So anything Greek that you want to translate, you can use the Coptic alphabet to translate these so-called Greek alphabets, and it's going to come out like it's supposed to come out. You see? So why is there a need to call it Greek? Because again, they're superimposing themselves in history. So in this particular area here, an excerpt from, a book, that deal with this language. If you look what it says Dr. Murray says the Coptic is an original tongue, for it derives all its indeclinable words and particles from radicals pertaining to itself. Well, I thought that the Coptic came from the Greek. No, it came from itself. The radicals that are a part of it. It says its verbs are derived from its own resources. Wait a minute, I thought Coptic came from Greek. How is it going to be derived from Greek, but yet it derived from its own resources? There is no mixture of any foreign language in its composition. And then it says, except Greek. And when it's saying that there, that's when Greek came later. So Coptic in its pure form is Coptic. It says Zosimus, quoted by Fabricus, says that the Old Testament was translated into Egyptian when the Septuagint translation was made. Biblia tum non grecium technicum, which don't mean a whole lot, but they talking about the introduction into Sahidic fragments, which is another form of what we call the Hekapta. So when we look at this right here alone, what do you see right there, scribes? Did we not just remove all doubt?
Right.
And so what are we being told here?
That in essence, Greek wasn't in the picture until later. It was translated into the Egyptian.
There we go. There we go. And some people will ask, well, what is the importance of this? Scribes, can you give the example of what is the importance of knowing this history right here?
But that all languages came from one, and that the I would say civilization or civilization started from Africa. That's what be the main thing. And if you know the heights of your people and the origin of your people, then your future can't be where we've been through. You see, you can climb up out of that. That's what I grasp from it.
And when we talk about history and reliance upon the law, now don't it make sense?
Yes.
You know, and that's the key. So some people are like, well, what? You know, for some reason, when we start exposing this information, what do that have to do with us in this era and time? Our people like to ask that question, but when Greek and Roman history is being force fed to them, they don't ask that question to them. Why is it that we question everything that has to do with our antiquity, but we teach and we push the doctrine and narrative of Roman antiquity? Can y'all give me some background on that, Scribe? What's wrong with that?
Willie Lynch syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome.
Yes, that's even better. Thank you.
Now, what about the ones that have indoctrinated themselves so much in this particular type of mentality? You know, and I call it eloquent ignorance. Is that not a proper designation for this mindset?
Yes, it is.
You have become eloquent in your ignorance, so much so, and you begin to push that to our people. And some of them will go for it if they don't know history, because it sounds good.
A party to your own genocide as well.
There you go. Unfortunately. So for those who are watching us right now, this is why you see us going so hard in relation to dealing with trying to teach y'all the language. It's one thing to show you this, because once you understand it, now you know what you read. You ain't just reading what Rome said. And that's another thing. Most of our people take stuff that Rome said and they run with it. And then when you come to correct Rome, they act like Rome is God himself. In fact, they defend Rome more than they defend what's supposed to be godly. Make it make sense. They go against the books that are said to be sent by God, but then stand firmly in defense of what Rome wrote and argue you down in defense of Rome, but then tell you God don't exist, while they have made Rome their God. Goodness gracious. That's terrible.
Islam. Dr. Shaheed.
Go ahead, Grand Secretary of State.
You know just how they have the ancient Egyptian dictionary, and we've got Hebrew dictionary, etc. Did they do one for the Phoenicians, or is that something we have to do as well?
Basically, to be honest with you, they really haven't dug all the way into the Phoenician real heavy. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the Sumeric language ain't really been tapped all the way into. You know, you may have words here, little words there, you know, but I haven't seen too many expressions of a Phoenician dictionary out there. So yeah, we would have to go into pushing these things to the forefront as well. Mashallah. You know, and that's why all this is necessary to be known before we go there. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
Yeah, we got to do this. You know, we can't do it halfway. You know, we're going to do it. So this is what they look like. You know, y'all see the naps in the beard and the head. You see the broad nose. But yet some people still try to tell you, even though we're dealing with phenotype, that that's our people. You know, that's not our people, pardon self. You know, they knocked the nose off of these particular ones here. But let's go a little further. You can't deny old Hannibal, Septimus Severus, who set up in Carthage. So this goes into play if he was in Carthage, then he was using that same alphabet that we pointed out that was in Carthage, which was said to be Phoenician or Egyptian, right?
Right.
Hannibal. And they got Denzel Washington supposed to be playing him in the next 300. You know, this was another depiction of a brother here. We got one in a dashiki here, even though they tried to make him look effeminate. You know, here are other pictures here. And they go on and on. You know, this is my stolen legacy measure. Even the so-called Trojans, look at the melanin there. We showed y'all these pictures before, but it's key now to know what you're looking at. Okay, so we have a date here, 700 BC. This is around the time when they say the Atiks, you know, as they used the term when they were referring to that same alphabet. So these people were using that alphabet during that time. We can see that they had the same beard that the Kifti who had that I was pointing out earlier, right?
Yep.
And we can also see that this is definitely one that is melanated. Brother here kind of put you in the mind of the brother Young Thug, brother Bati Bay. That's on trial now.
Islam. Islam.
Yes, sir. Look just like that, brother. Ain't that something else?
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. And look, he got the locks and everything. So, you know, that was a common thing. That looked like somebody I know. I just can't think of who it is, but from 600. There you go. That's a 600 BC right there. Etruscans. So these are the people that would have been in the realm that they call in Greece now. They was there. This is prior to even Alexander the Greek, though, now 600 BC. So we know what the alphabet looked like that was on the manifest that was there because we done already showed it to you. This is 500 BC. Now, y'all know good and well that ain't no European. We already have seen what Ptolemies look like. You see the difference in the way these images are and the way the Ptolemy images that come later look? Don't that look like somebody you know?
Yep.
You can't think of who it is, but it definitely look like somebody I know. That's 500 BC. That definitely looked like somebody I know. I can't think exactly who it is, but it definitely ain't no European. These are all Etruscans. You know, there's another one there from 400 to 300 BC going into the time when the Alexander the Greek them got up in there. So if you notice, you know, these would have been the people that were being contended with. But I showed you in the beginning, a lot of them, when you go to the Hilma thing, you can see it came straight up out of Kemet. This is what they call the Negroes in Rome, or the Roman Negroes. They actually use the other term, but I'm going to use Roman Negroes right now. These are your Italian. This is why Prophet Noble Drew Ali said they were so mean, because they was a crossbreed between us, you know, and the European. Now let's go even up into the modern time to Rome. This is after they done come all the way up in there. This 100 AD. It's years after the Ptolemies wasn't even ruling no more. But look, it's still natives that are there that look just like our people. All these are coming more in the modern time. You know, which these are the images that begin to look more like those you find in Europe, in Spain. When you look at the pictures of the Moors that were found in Spain. We can't make this stuff up, family. This is more reminiscent of some pictures they try to depict slaves looking like. But here again, this is 200 BC. Y'all know good and well. That actually looked like she kind of favored her sister Aminette, Pearson Bay wife a little bit. But like, look at this. See, it says Roman youth. This is your original Italian look, so to speak. This is those Moors that are the fathers and the mothers of the people. Look at all of that, family. We showed this to our people before. And like I say, we call this particular drawing and stolen legacy. You know what I mean? Look at the strong features. This is 400 BC. All of these different busts and pictures of those regions. This is 100 AD right here. Look at the broad nose here. This ain't just, and this is Carthage. This is from the Carthaginians. This is that Punic that I was telling y'all about. That was known in ancient Sumeria as cuneiform. So I put the Sumerian cuneiform in the middle of two Punic tablets, that will be found in Carthaginian regions. So we see the connection between the people of Carthage as it relates to the ancient Sumerians. Same language, people. Look at the depiction there. That is not European features here. Brother, here kind of look like the chairman a little bit. Kind of give you a look of the chairman. But that definitely ain't no European looks there. No. And he even had him a little bubbles, like Michael Jackson back then, with him looked like it. Yeah, we got to use a little humor. But nevertheless, this is, for example, some of the words that we found that came out of the Phoenician, like the word Maharim, which means the furthest of the west, which connects to the word Mari and more. You see it right here? Phoenician bust from the Phoenician period in Spain. It ain't strange that they find it. Tradition is that the Phoenicians founded the city of Cadiz in southwest Spain in 11 BC to exploit the natural resources in the area. Housed by Museo de Cadiz, Spain, the Phoenician cities were in Canaan.
So Grand Secretary of State said he's backstage.
I couldn't even see it. I'm over here. Thank you, brother, for telling me that. Let me get back over there and get her in here. Okay. Oh, man. Okay, there we go. Wrong one. Must be this one. Okay, there we go. All right. Pardon self, Grand Secretary of State. We didn't even know you was off of here.
All is well. Gratitude.
Islam. So yeah, dealing with all this here, this shows you the Phoenician cities that were in Canaan. So this is Cushite cities. Now notice it say descendants of the Phoenician alphabet. Then they show a connection to Proto-Sinaitic. Then comes the Phoenician, and it gives you the time period. So we already know how the people look that were dealing with these alphabets, because we just showed you pictures all the way back, to the time of the Kiftihu. Even the whole Hebrew in the 9th century and all of that, by the time it come on to manifest, it shows you who the people were at that particular time. So here is what they call in this picture the Etruscan Old Italic alphabet, Italic alphabet. Same alphabet. And we know who the Etruscans are. We just showed you who the Etruscans are. So we know who it was that was using this language. Very important that we know this. Now this is what I was saying. They have charts in here. You're going to see what they use. See, they're using the term classical Greek here. That's to try to make it look like it's more ancient than what it is, people. But it actually comes from here, Phoenician. See the Phoenician alphabet? Then you got early Hebrew coming out of that. Early Aramaic coming out of that. Same alphabet. Then they saying early Greek. So how are you going to call this early Greek when it already existed in the form of Phoenician? Got them. How you going to call it classical Greek when it already existed in the form of Phoenician? Even when they use the term Hebrew, it's still Phoenician. And they showing you everything like the Etruscan, which the Etruscan really represent the original Greek. And they want to put that behind the so-called classical and early Greek. But the Etruscans, we just showed you who they were and how they look. You see what I'm saying? And then come, your Latin and everything else that evolved out of that. They want you to believe it came from Greek instead of Phoenician. So you see the wool that's being pulled over the family. Now, what y'all got to say about that, Scribe?
The remix becomes even clearer.
Goodness gracious.
Scrambled eggs.
And they said it right here, too. This table shows the evolution of the alphabet from the what? Ancient Phoenician syllabary, on which Greek script was based. So stop calling it Greek then. The Russian and the Cyrillic alphabet was derived directly from the Greek, whereas the English alphabet came from the Greek through the medium of Etruscan and Latin. But Etruscan, we already seen who the Etruscans were. So if it came from Etruscan, and that's what the Etruscans look like, 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 then who is the real father of the alphabet that they call in Greek? You want to answer that, Scribe?
No other than Kemet. Phoenicians, well, yeah.
That's right. That's right. So this is showing you who the people were. Y'all ain't getting this nowhere else, people. I'm telling y'all better pay attention. Stop letting these people deceive you. So when they call it Paleo-Hebrew, here it is right here again. Let's open it up. Archaic Phoenician alphabet. There it go again. Greek alphabets. Ain't nothing but a remix of what was already in existence. Classical Greek again. There it is. You see they hollering classical? And this is what they are now calling classical. That's the Coptic, right?
Yes.
See what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Like, it don't get no plainer than that right there. We have to go over this. We just going over it a different way and attaching the language to the people now, so that our people can see what's going on. See, this one got on that headdress, that we end up wearing too now. See the little sun like this with the wings there? It's the same alphabet, and this would be a Moabite, a Phoenician inscription right here. Same alphabet. All that come from our people. They think that we on some grandiose stuff when we can prove this stuff, man. Stop playing. Paleo-Hebrew script, which is really still the same thing. And then they go so far over here and they use this terminology for the script. Proto-Canaanite. Then they come over here again and they call it Archaic Greek again. Classical Greek. See what I'm saying? Just call it what it is, people. Stop trying to steal. And they all don't get mad at us because these same charts y'all can go out there and find. The Greek language don't exist. It's a remix. So this is the Moabite stone. This is a black and white version of it. What language is on that Moabite stone? They just called it Canaanite too, didn't it? Oops, did I say Phoenician? Oops, did I say Egyptian?
Yep.
Am I making this stuff up? If I made this up, then y'all saying I'm time traveling. That means I had to go through all these realms of time and I had to create the Moabite stone. That means I was on the manifest with the Etruscans too. Oh no, I was there when the Kifty who was there, since they always like to say he made that up. That's the most weakest cop out I ever seen in my life from some of the people I had to deal with in social media. When they see that they can't deal with it, he made that up, y'all. Y'all give me too much credit. Because I ain't stepped into no time machine. But there it go again, right there. Same thing. So look at here. Even on this tablet here that come from the Sabians. This is a Sabian tablet. Same alphabet now written in the midst of it. And we have the symbol of the goddess here. The Tanit, which is reminiscent of Ptah, and also the holding up the hand of Ka. We can see the horns like with the sun disc expression here. The flower of life, all that up in there. This is Coptic. This is actually Coptic material. The hand of Fatima. 2 quails up here. You can see the Coptic connection to that. This is also another piece of the same thing being expressed here. Egyptian, Phoenician. Then this is a bust of what they like to call the emerald tablets of Tehuti, being inscribed in the same type and style of writing. The emerald tablets. Look at that. Here's the Iberian, like I told you, that we based our language off of. They got a Southern Iberian. And Iberian Peninsula is where the Pillars of Hercules are. That's where Spain and all that comes into play. But they call it Iberic Egyptian. Look at that. Mustafa Gadala point out a lot of these alphabets. That same style of writing. So then we come over here and we see where you have some people put a chart together and they try to trace back what they call pictograms and phonograms. See, they calling these different, though these signs are the same. They calling them pictograms and phonograms. In other words, they saying these are phonetic and these are just pictures. But if they just pictures in 1859, then they still pictures here, even though you try to make a language out. And these pictures are different, even though some of them Champollion adopted. And that's why we said, and they call this also a pseudo alphabet too, but this is the original Hebrew alphabet that was found in Sarabat al-Qadim, and this is what they did, and they adopted this to what they call in Paleo Hebrew, which we know is really Phoenician. And this is why you keep hearing them saying that the hieroglyphics came first, then the pictures. The letters. This is where they get that from. This is where Champollion came up with the idea, of creating his own alphabet chart, because he seen that the Hebrew was supposed to have one like that. You see the echograms, the English, and all this here. Really, no, this is really Phoenician here, and they done adopted it to pictures over here. And they call it also the Mosaic alphabet. Same thing over here. They actually have the Aleph, the Beit, and they showing it right here side by side on each one of these. This represents the door. This is a bin, they call it Gahard. Halal, this is all alphabets. W, and they showing all this stuff here. That they come up with these little pictorials, because Rome is obsessed with making pictorials, into alphabets, and so we showed the actual writing scripts, as they are. Like we talked about hieratic, the Ancorio script, and we talked about the Hecapta. And what we were showing in this is showing how the hieratic actually gave birth to Meroitic down here at the bottom. So you can see the similarities between the two. We showing how the Ancoria script or Demotic in this here gave birth to the Arabic. You can see it here. The Kufic. Then we see again how Hecapta, was misnormered as the Greek script. Like all you got to do is do the research, people. And then we showed you again the misnomer Greek text compared to the Hecapta. So this would be Greek Bible. This would be Hecapta, or the Coptic Bible, as they call it. Look at the language. Same thing. So now, having already presented this right here now and brought this forth, like here, this is also showing a Libyan king right here. Notice the hairstyle that this Libyan king has. A lot of brothers demonstrating like this right now. Got the full beard, see the locks coming down. You know, see one have a staff. And they are said to be delivering, I guess, or they have some type of cotton or wool, pardon self, down here. See what they say? The Miyan, who were among the original black people of Greece, 565 to 560 BC. Is this not accurate with the original people that we showed you, the Etruscans up there in the 500s BC?
Yes, it is.
You know, so who were the original inhabitants of this place? This is 200 years before Alexander the Greek got there. So these would have been the people that were there after Kemet had already been overthrown and everything. So these would have been some of the people that was among the natives that was rebelling, right? Islam?
Islam, is the minions linked to the Mayans?
Say that again, brother.
Is the minion, was the minions linked to the Mayans?
I wouldn't go so far to say that right there, you know, but I would say that we know the Mayans come from Africa. You know, there's probably some connection to it, but I wouldn't link the etymology up, you know, to that particular aspect. You know, but you see what I said. There is no such thing as Greek language or Greek culture apart from the Hecapta. So these are really the Hecapta, the Coptic people, you know, which they like to call Egyptian. Remember, because the people of Libya are from Put, and the Puttites are descendants of the ancient Cushites. So the Puttites are said to be the ancient ancestors of the Moors, who went into North Africa and Carthage. You can even see the Kemetic influence in the stork that's up here flying above. You can see the scales of Ma'at that's being demonstrated here. Like, we can't make this stuff up. We can see the influence. Look like a little panther up under the one right here. That looked like either a lizard or an alligator right there. Crocodile of some sort. Definitely looked like a reptilian. But and then that brings us here. Like I was showing y'all earlier. You can see, you know, your Zeus. You know, you see how they look. You know, you see the the Attics, you know, Asiatics. You see, with the trident of Poseidon, the one that Aquaman uses. Look here, look at this brother here. This is all in what they call classical Greek history now, fighting Medusa. You seen Clash of the Titan, this would be the real Perseus right here. You see? Now look at that. Poseidon. Even Poseidon with the trident in his hand. Here's the same hairdo here. The dreads hanging down, the beard. You see how dark and melanated these people. It's important that we have this knowledge. We're not just trying to show you pictures for the sake of showing you pictures. This is Poseidon and Athena. Athena is actually supposed to be the ancestor of their version of Wonder Woman in the Marvel Comics. Here is Atlas that's upholding the earth. If you ever seen the Atlas, I got one right in here. I used to have two of them. You know, they have the serpent here. Look like someone, like it's a prison here, whatever, one trying to hold up the earth, and the bird is going into the chest of this particular one. This is Atlas. You know, we see the centaur, we see Hermes, which is the form of, you know, Tahuti over here sitting behind him with the Atef crown on, the white crown, and what would normally be the red crown with the E.A.R.S coming out of the front, the serpent. See, he has the beard. This is their version of Tahuti, a thought here. You know, Hermes is what they call him, Hermes Trismegistus. You see him with his staff here. If you watch, you know, Black Panther, you know, and you seen the one that they was fighting against in the what they called the Mayan culture, you know, at that time. Here it is here. Look at the headdress, you know, and this goes on and on. We can see that the Europeans are serving, in most cases, the ancestors. This is all classical Greek literature, as they like to call it. Look at the European over there coming to serve the king. Look at the king. Look at how melanated they is as opposed to the European. You see? Same thing being demonstrated here. And we can go on and on with this. And I done showed our people the pictures, but I'm showing you now how these things exist in relation to dealing with the connection to the language. Who the people were that were dealing with the language. See the brother here? Look at who got a European bringing him game. So we do know there's a distinction between the two. These are not pale skins with no dark hue on them. These are the pale skins, people. You understand? All you got to go, this is Apis. I'm at par himself, Aries. Zeus again. So no matter where you want to look at it, family, Helios here. Or Haos, as they call them. You know, Adonis. The goddess Hesta, where the name Esther come from. Right? Polyphemus. You know, the Ephesian Artemis. Like, we can go on and on with this here. Like, I mean, goodness gracious. Apollyon. Dionys. Dionysus, as they would call them. There again is a European pouring libation or something. See, one brother, he old in age, his locks is purely snow white. See, you see the European were mostly in the background, but they definitely wasn't the rulers, you know, at this time. See, they know this history, people. When they go to them different places and they see this, this is why they envy you. Because they know that you are the God that they've been paying homage to all the while. You see? So we can't go into, you know, the Coptic history and the Coptic language without giving you the proper background. You know, that's the whole purpose of me putting this out here for y'all to see this here. You know, I showed you these pictures before, but I wanted to show you where they were in terms as it relates to dealing with the languages. You see? So I want to open up for my scribes and see what they have to say about all of this being presented. and then we'll go a little further into the measure as it relates to the language. Islam,
Islam,
Islam, Grand National Secretary of the State.
rising, giving praises to Allah, honor to our Prophet, honor to our family online and our class today, giving much honor to you and our scribe, Dr. Bati Bey. Uh, I actually looked up the word classical so that I could be what I know as well. And it states relating to the ancient Greek and Roman world. It also has as a synonym antiquity. And it's speaking about in relation to the literature, art, architecture, or ideals. But yet, it also explains about it has a huge impact on later European life, law, and politics. But it quotes balance, perfection, social harmony, and states trying to make themselves superior to our particular race and culture, that they had civilizations more complex. But if you look at everything that Rome had in reference to trying to superimpose themselves into our special history, they're the ones that pseudo, based on all of these parameters that they have listed to make themselves appear as classical or ancient or what have you. All of that is pseudo. Islam.
But there we go. You heard it from the scribes. And be sure, if you just been here for the first time, to hit that like, share, and subscribe, family, so that you can continue to get this content. Because we going to give it to you straight. We ain't hiding nothing. We ain't remixing nothing. We ain't remixing nothing. We giving you the truth. Now, what you do with it after we give it to you, that's on you. We ain't, this is it. Look at this. So that's powerful, Grand Secretary of State. What have you to say, Brother Bati Bey?
Islam. When you're looking at ultimately a takeover of a people, their knowledge and what we call what we holistically call civilization, they studied us, and they studied us well to know that they could pick a language and there'll be different derivatives, but they can say and try to weasel themselves in. Everything they did was planned. It was methodical, and they I hate to say it like this, but they executed it well, but not well enough, because we can it's being uncovered as we speak. But this speaks to how great, not how great their their cunning was, but more so how great of a people we are. And we got to take that in consideration. Why would someone go to the lengths of this in order to, as you say, superimpose themselves into the language, the people, and the rulership that was going on at that time, if they were really the rulers? If you were really who you say you are, you ain't got nothing to hide. So why would you why would you have to create all this this pseudo science in order to put out before the world that you're something, you're something you're not? And this reminds me of that story of Jacob and Esau, one trying to take the other's birthright. And with that, I leave a come peace as well.
That's exactly what they've been doing, stealing the birthright. Throughout history, the annals of history. And that's why we refer to it as a stolen legacy. And that's why people need to reread The Stolen Legacy, written by our brother G.M. James. He told you right there is no such thing as a Greek culture. He told you and I showed you. I just showed our people a few minutes ago. I showed you where all of this language derived from. Whether you want to deal with the hieratic, it come from us. Phoenician, it come from us. Hecapta, which is it come from us. So-called Greek, which is really Hecapta, come from us. Arabic or Arabia come from us. And the telltale element is the abjad and not the HLMH. All of these things were originated by us when it comes to dealing with this information, family. Can't nobody get around it. So it's definitely a paradigm shift if you come in and listen to the information that we have to bring forth. Because we telling you exactly where it come from. And this is not based on oversaturation of racism and grandiose personality. We showing you this stuff. And you all you got to do is go and look up the terms that were used in us presenting this information. And I purposely give you the root terms so that it take you exactly to where you need to be. So if you think I'm in doubt about what I'm talking about, then go look it up. Go look up Ptolemy and see what Ptolemy them look like. The ones that are mentioned in the actual Demotic documents. Go look them up. We done already showed you a whole bunch of time what they look like. But we showing you who the people were on the manifest that they were contending with. And a lot of people like to go at, the Muslim and say the Muslim tore down. No, the Muslim didn't tear down Kemet. Like Dr. John Henry Clark said, by the time the Arabs got there, and even the Moors, if you want to deal with Egypt, by the time Muslims got there, Egypt was already overthrown and it was other foreign rulers in the leadership. So the Arabs didn't overthrow the ancient Egyptians. The Arabs overthrew the Romans. So see, people have to understand their history, and stop putting blanket indictments on people, because you have a certain dislike for a belief system. So when you say they went in there and pillaged Kemet, it wasn't nothing to pillage by the time the Arabs got there. Kemet had already been ran through. So you got to think about those things, family, before you start trying to condemn, because that's what they try to hold against Islam. The Arabs went in. No, who was there when the Arabs went into Kemet? Was the ancient Egyptians there or were Romans there? And then you put everything in context. For those who believe the Moors enslaved our people, well, what Moors are you referring to? Are you referring to the Haritans that was actually being enslaved? Or are you referring to the Al-Bidan, the pale-skinned Arabs that was enslaving the Haritans and still enslaving them right now? Do you know the difference between the two? All of this is important to be known, because you can't put a blanket indictment on the people based upon the actions of other people. When you do that, it makes you look crazy to somebody that really know history. But some of our people are so deceptive, they'll know the truth and still teach that nonsense anyway, to try to discredit the Moors, when we know that it was the so-called white Moors, Haritans, Al-Bidan, enslaving the Haritans. We was being enslaved. Our ancestors still being enslaved right now. You got to know proper history, family, and then you can speak on it. Stop speaking on what somebody else told you, because when Rome give you the history, they're going to always be the hero. And all that stuff about it was the Moors enslaved people, that's the divert. Rome is good at using diversion tactics to make you move your attention from something else and justify why something happened. So instead of accepting the fact that we was enslaved, you want to go to talking about we was enslaving each other. What that got to do with what Rome did to us? Show us how enslaving each other, if that's what you want to use as your mode of history. Show me how that has kept us down in this particular area of time, if you want to call it that. Because we ain't enslaving us now. We don't have control over this system that has been implementing this systemic oppression and keeping us in bondage mentally, physically, and spiritually. And that's another thing. That's right, Brother Noble Brian. They know what they be doing when they say that. And a lot of them are reading European books. That's the European definition. They don't want to go and do the root. They need to get out of that artificial intelligence, AI, and get into this African intelligence, a Kubalan intelligence. That's the real AI. It's sad when they say more came from Greek. And I done went over that so many times. They so ignorant. The word Mar came from the original people, the native inhabitants of the place. Everybody know that done did research. The word Mar is what gave birth to the word more. But one thing about the root of the word Mar is they can't take that word black back as far as they use the word Mar. The word Mar go all the way back to Kemet. It go all the way back to Sumeria. It go all the way back to India. And it still is rooted to the people or the land or even just the man. But when you look at that word black, it's only as old as the English language, and it really ain't that old. It go back to what, the 14th, 16th century? That's all they got to do is try to trace which one bite. Here's a name that was used by the natives, Mar. They reject that, but they'll take the word black that John Blumenbach gave them on the scientific racism. And they'll hold on to that. They even try to make the word Kemet be a black man when it refers to actually the land, the soil of the land. We know man was made from the soil, but that's not a nationality. Soil is not your nationality. The earth is not your nationality. Even Honorable Elijah Muhammad understood that. I had a lesson where he talked about it. Who is the original man? And he said that the original man is not the landmass that you come from or the color of your skin. Elijah said that because he too knew the difference between a Negro, black, and colored man. That's why in the book Message to the Black Man, Message to the Dead Man, that he said was in need of resurrection. Don't nobody get mad at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad when he say our people were dead. But when Noble Drew Ali said, all of a sudden y'all want to get mad. And he taught the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. See, y'all like to pick and choose. Even Elijah used the term so-called Negro, so-called colored man. If you go read the Black Message of the Black Man, he knew what he was saying. The only reason he disassociated himself with the term Moor is because at that time the Moors was hot. They was going to war. They were shooting police. They were killing each other up. So, of course, the brother couldn't build his movement, under that name. Same reason why he took the fez off of the heads of those who was a part of what was called the Allah Temple of Islam under Master Farad Muhammad. He even had to change the temple name from Allah Temple of Islam to Muhammad's Temple of Islam. Then it became the Nation of Islam, Lost Found Nation, on the Farrakhan and all that type of stuff. But he changed the name because he didn't want to be associated with the Allah Temple of Islam because they too was under investigation. Too much negative controversy. So he told them to take the fez off their heads. And then he created his own fez type of headdress that he would wear. And even the NOI would wear, that similar type of headdress with the crescent on it without the bib on it. And then they added the bib later that you see the FOI in. You see, so we have to understand certain things. Of course, the brother wasn't going to admit he was present during the time because he was part of Temple in Detroit, the one that went against the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. We got letters where he was writing Lomax Bay in Africa. So, of course, he wasn't going to talk about that when he was present when Noble Drew Ali was took off the count physically. When he was present when all this stuff was going on. Why would he go up there and say that and then make that a part of his organization he was trying to build? See, y'all got to look at the dynamics of what was going on. Then you understand why you don't know certain things and why certain things wasn't being taught. Why he wouldn't make mention of certain things. And his affiliations. But anyway, you know, we just got to do our research. We got to study, family. You know what I mean? The proof is right there in the measure. So what I want to do, because we're going to get ready to shut down in a little bit. I want to ask my scribe, do they have anything else they want to say to what we just spoke on? And then we're going to go into the other phase of trying to deal with this alphabet. Islam, you there, family?
Here, nothing else at this time. Gratitude.
Okay. Gratitude. What about you, brother Bati Bey?
You know, only thing I want to say is this: when we're looking at everything going on in the world today, and you know, you got ones that are giving out information to you, it's the signs and the symbols that are even in the cosmos is saying that we got to pull together. However it be, it doesn't matter. And we got to, how we pull together is knowing what our purpose is, knowing what our end goal is, and that's to be free from our oppressors. That's the main goal, to be free from our oppressors, to be one, to have our own everything. And language is really the foundation, because if we have a language that can't nobody get into, can't nobody swindle into, because we created it, it's ours, then we limit the ability of anybody to trample, seize, or put us back into a situation where we came out of. You know, and I think that this is speaking to a deeper point, but you know, just to give you brief, this is for us, this is by us, and it is really time for us to start pulling together. We got a government, we got a flag, seal, emblem. There's work for all to do. It don't matter where you're at, you know, along your journey. Get here, get educated, and let's go. Islam.
In Islam, brother, we give honors to you for that drawing. Praise be to Allah. Islamism without the schism. Yeah, don't get no plainer than that. You know, so what I want to do at this particular time, let me see here if I can find this real quick. Just give me a second. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna go here. Let me present my screen real quick. And y'all can pull up Scribes if you have it already, all is well. But you can pull up the document that I sent over. Which is this document right here. And what I want our scribes to do is see if you can identify by using, you know, this particular chart, you know, the Heka. And hold up, I'm trying to show you the picture here. And see if you can identify some of the words that are right here. You know, and just call the letters out that you see. It don't have to be all of them. You know, just call them out based upon the chart that you have. You know, and either one of y'all can come forth first. Islam. These words here, the little words that surrounding them, that you can make out, Islam.
Islam. I see the O.
Okay,
What
and which
Greek
which
has is
area?
Omicron.
Okay, up here in
Yep,
this
yep,
area.
yep, right
Okay.
there. Uh-huh.
Okay.
And then that X looking thing, Chi.
Uh-huh.
Let me see. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
Well, the one on the it's down underneath it begins with an M. It says M moon on moon.
Give hold up.
Oh,
I
finish.
wanna
Let her finish. It's on.
yeah, let the Grand Secretary of the State finish this. Yes, sir.
Oh, pardon itself. Well, you know what? That middle letter, even though it's upside down, it looks like lava.
Okay.
And I'm trying to. I don't know if that next one would be maybe Delta, even though it has a stick at the end, and then that O again.
Okay.
Islam.
Islam. And we'll go now to the one I think Bati Bay was trying to point out. Which one you were speaking of, brother?
Islam. It's the one on it's on the bottom. It says M.A. It looks like a D.N.
On the bottom. Oh,
Yeah,
you talking about down here?
yeah, that one right there. I couldn't make out that third letter. I don't know if that's a D or an N. It doesn't
Look
look
at
like
your
a D.
chart. Look at your chart. It looked like an E, right?
I don't know because I try. I can't blow that screen up. So
Yeah, it does look like a E.
oh now it does. Yeah, I see it. So that's Mu uh E and hmm. It look like it says Maine, but it's M-A-E-N. Yeah, M-A-E-N.
Right,
That's
right,
that's what I have.
right, right. So
That's probably the Mayan.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
yeah, that's what I was just looking at as
Yep,
well. You see? And so
yep.
that's I was just saying the same thing to myself. And if you look up here, you know, and you do that based off science ship, you know, what about this one right here? That word at the top. What does that look like?
Hmm.
The first one is like a three looking symbol. What letter is that in the alphabet chart?
Coming from which way? Left to right or right to left?
You know, I was thinking the same thing, Bati Bay. Woo.
Well, you know, most of the time when you read in the Greek, it go from straight left to right.
Okay, so that's a let me see.
I'm looking. XC.
That could be it. And then the next one after that one.
That O again.
Okay, so that's EO. And what is the other one coming behind it?
A.
Yeah,
Talking about next to the O? That look like the A to
Yes.
you? Okay. Are you talking about the upside down A? Are you
No. The
talking?
third letter from the
Okay,
left.
okay, gotcha. All right. And then the next one?
Mm,
yeah. It looked like it could be new or in, but they got a line going across it. So
So that's EOA N.
Uh-huh.
That's Eon.
IOTA.
And then this actually looked like it spelled wool out.
Hmm.
That's
Like
what they
my,
were talking about, wool.
Uh-huh.
It actually looked like it spelled wool out.
but it
You
has
know,
fire.
that's how it Coptic is. Some of it you can see the actual word in it.
Mm-hmm.
Fire.
You see?
Hmm.
Let's see here. Um, let's go down here to the actual. Well, I didn't have it attached to that. Let's see. There you go, right there. What you see here? I know I can see EKL, look like a L, or well, AL, pardon self. EKAL. And that's actually, you actually read that from right to left. Pardon self. You actually read that from left to right too. But then it has, what is that? I can't tell what that is right there. Nor E, nor. But you can definitely see the alphabets in there.
That almost look like gamma.
I saw that in there.
Mm-hmm. Look like they got Canaan up there. But
Um,
we gonna go into this.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm just trying to see what y'all can identify by using the alphabet chart right now. And we're gonna get some, better papyri than this. That's got a more look of clarity, and we're gonna send that out for the assignment. I just wanted to see, because some of this stuff, like I said, you can go in here and see. Like, for example, let me go here so we can bring our audience back in here and they know exactly what we're going through. This was just an exercise to see what it is that we could see. But here it is again here. And they give you all of the sound shifts right here. You can see all the letters with clarity here. And they got a few words, as we know, because this is the actual breakdown. You can actually see they trying to show the derivative here on how everything came into being. And you go into understanding what the consonant letters mean are, the vowel sounds. And then you can come in here and look at these particular words, that they have here as they relate to letters and so forth and so on. So they give you all of that in here. But then when you get to the words, all it is a change. Like Nafri, for example, we can see the F and they can see this P right here is really R. So that these two letters here, the only thing that changed between these expressions, even though this is a transliterated pronunciation. You see Nafri, a Nane, like rain, but we see it here. You see what I'm saying? And we see that line on the top is signifying the NAI together. Name. Or like Atu Owi. We see the same thing here. We can actually see that word. Ruhi. If we know this is R, we see the O, then we see the U here. See the U interchangeable with W as well. And then we see the H here. Ruhi. There. So once you become familiar with the Coptic we showed before, that you pretty much know the language. And they're telling you what each one of them mean. Hi, good morning, evening, good morning. Nane Atui. Nane Atui. Good morning. Nane Ruhi. Good evening. You see what I'm saying? So once you become familiar with this alphabet, you pretty much you can see some of these things as they are. Islam.
Song.
Yeah, so that's why I say the Coptic is probably one of the easiest to learn. It's just learning the different symbols that are used in the place of word letters that we use in the English language. Like, for example, this is the transliteration, but you can really see that. See the J, nay. You can see the same thing that's being said there. So, like this here, and zip, we can see unzip right here. You see? So yeah, we're gonna get further into it. Like I say, we're gonna send these things out. They even have numbers here where you can learn numbers and counting. You know, and we'll go further into it just to become familiar with it. But yeah, all is well. Any questions or statements and comments in regards to dealing with this that we're going into now with the Coptic scribes?
It just brings about a race pride. It really does, and you can see now why it was so hard to to no, we don't want you to read it all. To okay, now that we have our stuff together and our lives straight, we're going to have you go in this direction, you know. But it just brings about a race pride and even further connection to your ancestors, you know, because there's still things that, especially formulas that we haven't really tapped into
That's
that
right.
are perplexing to Europeans. That's why they wanted to create their own mess. But you know, everything in its own time, and you know, and we're beyond time. So it's very very exciting to be able to do this now that we have a blueprint and a format, you know, that brings clarity to the matter. Islam, gratitude
Uh,
more.
Islam and gratitude. And once we understand that, we know that signs and symbols are for conscious mind and men and women of understanding. Just like even dealing with the symbol, you know, of what is called the Coptic cross, we can see the Moorish symbolism. Yeah, we can see the Ankh. We can see the quadratic circle with the schools of thought in this particular expression. You know what I mean? But it's there. It's in there. You know, we can see where they came up with these things from. The origination. This is a modern depiction. This is why I tell you I know people been tampering with that stuff in Kemet. See the glyphs up here? Somebody done went and put, you know, the cross up here. A lot of people are trying to say that's a malted cross of the Knights Templar, and they did that when they was in Egypt. You know, see this here? You know that's
That's
out of place.
terrible.
Yeah, that's out of place, but they put it in there now. They would say this is from the Coptic priesthood, but Christian would say this is the Christian cross. But we know that somebody put this in there,
Mm-hmm.
you know, after the fact. So we know they've been out there tampering with.
Mm.
You know, like I say, some of it could be the Coptic priesthood, but a lot of it is being claimed, you know, by the people. See here? And they made those types of marks all around, you know, in ancient Kemet. So yeah, we got to know our history, you know, and be able to identify with what's going on, family. Or somebody will always be able to take what's yours and make their mark and make it seem as if they were the ones who brought it forth. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Either you're gonna deal with his story or our story. You know, so pick which one. So now you got people out here, like I said, they done adopted these things and then tried to take them and make them their own. And now we got the so-called crucifix on the manifest. You see? Boy, I tell you. Anything you want to say, Brother Bati Bay?
I was gonna say crucial fiction, but no, nothing. nothing really to um nothing really as a last comment. I mean, no, it's not.
in Islamism. So you can tell when something purely Coptic. See the
Islam.
you
Yeah.
see? And so that's definitely where they tried to remix their cross from. No doubt on that. But we know better. We know what the original looked like. So yeah, all I'm gonna say is keep your divine eyes and ears open and pay attention. But we're gonna get our measure and send it out, behind this drawing for some things for our family to look at, because we want to deal directly with the papyri and stuff. Try to find some old Nubian or something like that right there. So there's a lot of old Nubian information out here. I'll show you that real quick. A lot of biblical. Let's see. A lot of the so-called biblical material, the Piscean records, was written in this. So we'll pull out some of it. This is some of your old Nubian, as well in your Hecopter. That one right there ain't got the image on this. Yeah, they got them here. Same thing. Y'all see what the old Nubian look like. They dressed in the same garb that the prophet had on. Feather coming up out the head, dress and everything. Sash on the body and everything. You know what I mean? They be talking about Shriners. Stop it. You know how old and how ancient that is?
Yes.
Compared to a so-called Shriner? Well, they get a European credit for everything. They go a better depiction of it. Same headdress, same feather coming up out the headdress, same sash across the body. Man, come on, stop playing. Please stop the madness. You know what I mean? These are people.
That's right.
They go your old Nubian. Same script that we already read when we talk about Coptic and what they like to call Greek, but just wrote in a different way. So all of your books, a lot of your early Christian books were written in Old Nubian, or what they call Egyptian. And a lot of our people didn't even know it. Ain't that a shame? As much as biblical stuff they out here teaching, and they don't even know a lot of this stuff was written in the language of the people of the Sudan and so forth and so on. Look, they even showing it to you right here. See how the Coptic and the Nubian is the same thing? Same thing. Same thing. Come on, man. But they tell you it was wrote in Greek, though. Then they'll come up here in the modern time and put a Eurocentric view in there. Look at that. That's Amharic. We got to put a stop to this. This is insane. But if you look right here, you can see the Nubian alphabet, and you can see, the letter R is still the same as it is in the Coptic. See the Omicron and the Delta and the Data, Zeta, same alphabet, people. And it's called the Nubian alphabet. Goodness gracious. Ain't them some of the pictures that we had on the bus a few minutes ago?
Indeed.
It's not.
All right. So there you go again. The Nubian language out of Old Nubian. Same alphabet that's called Coptic. We cannot make this stuff up, people. I know that's what they be saying. Commission making it up. Yeah. See what that say right there? That's the actual alphabet chart right there I use. Hold up, let me close that up. There you go. See that? African language material. So, yeah. There you go. There you go again. That's another one of the charts I had up there. Ancient Nubian language. Same thing they call in Coptic. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Them right there in your face all the while. So yeah, most of your biblical material is written in that language. So at this time, what we're gonna do, we're gonna open up the measure for the closing remarks from our Grand Secretary of the State and possibly our chairman and Bati Bay, and we're gonna close this demonstration out and get ready to put the session out there in the mat. Well, send it out to y'all. Okay. Islam Grand Secretary of the State.
Islam, having already risen, given praise and honor where due, I just have much gratitude for our Creator, our Prophet, also to this class, our E.A.R.S class, to our family online, to our scribes at Act One, and also to you, Dr. Shahid, our National Assistant Grand Sheikh, for bringing forth this special class. It just brings about a joy and a blessing, that I'm able to be here in this sacred school and learn these special lessons or get the keys, so that we could take it back and make it a part of ourselves, because in essence, this is our history and we have to have knowledge, of our history and reliance upon our Creator so that we are destined not to repeat these degrees again, in reference to recognizing the value of what we have, the value of what our ancestors brought forth. And we can see it even in this new era of time now, where when the Moors put something out, invariably you're going to have ones that want to try to steal, do a remix, and make it their own. So this is a particular practice or MO that has been learned, following after the ways of the so-called European nations. But this is not what is indicative of our culture, our ancestors, because we were too busy creating and bringing it forth for service to humanity, as opposed to trying to steal, destroy, eliminate, annihilate, etc. So when we look at our foundational laws, which is dealing with the 42 laws of Ma'at, and also bringing it forth to this new era of time, learning how to love instead of hate. Because a lot of times, if you don't temper this with divine love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, it will lead one to anger or hatred, wanting to take someone else off the count behind what has been done to us as a people. But we have to recognize that this is a divine issue. Nothing happens without the sanction of the Creator. So this time around, and receiving these enlightenments and these truths, then we're destined to do better, and this is why we want for our brothers and sisters what we want for ourselves. So this belongs to all of us, because we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors, and indeed a blessing and an honor to be able to do the research with sincerity and love so that we can bring it back, for the future guiders of the nation, that they may be strengthened. So gratitude more for calling me forth. Such a grand class. And every time we go over this in reference to repetition, it's still unfolding into even greater rounds of usefulness. Gratitude more for calling me forth. Much peace and love to all of my Moorish kin. Chairman isn't available at the time. Gratitude.
And Islam and gratitude, Grand National Secretary of the State. We give honors to you and also all of the scribes, for everything it is that is done and is being done, so to speak. Gratitude to you, and also gratitude to Act One. Praise be to Allah and the tribe of endurance. Well, all right. All right, Brother Bati Bey. You can come forth with your measure and then we'll take it to the degree of unfoldment.
Islam. You know, it don't when we're looking at everything that has been done to us, you know, and that we still have this urge for truth. You know, yeah, we can waddle in the pity of this, we can waddle in the pity of that, but you know, I can see the whole forest and the individual trees when it comes along uh, to this, and it's speaking to the fact that no one in history, and I'm gonna say this, I don't want to say it lightly because it's not as light as I'm about to say it, but has done what we're doing right now. And with the, you know, Allah's all victories assured, you know, through Noble Drew Ali, through all the ones that came along in our path to direct us to the point where we're creating our own language. And this is almost reiterating the fact of why, you know, our unity is more important than anything else that we can ever muster. Our we have everything right now. You know what I'm saying? And we're working on more as we speak. So one of the things that we gotta give each other is the benefit of the doubt, as well as like we give to the Europeans. We give them the benefit of the doubt 1,000 times over, but when it comes to us, we want to scrutinize and even somewhat be malicious when it comes down to the education of our people. That's why when I knew where I was at, where it was perfect, because it said, the prophet said, "Don't believe me, investigate it for yourself." And that's what we're, you know, putting this out here for y'all to do, to investigate it for yourself, as well as the other information. You know what I'm saying? You are a nation of people. You were freed in 1865. You know what I'm saying? There was the Moorish nation that was in 1928 that was registered at the Pan American Conference. You know, there's we are a people. It's just on us to put down the stupidity and come together. Put down that Western Freemasonry. Put down that the all the demarcation lines, all the things that divide us, and really hone in. Because at the end of the day, ain't nobody coming to save us. We can only save each other, and we can only really save by saving ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Or by saving ourselves, we can save each other in that sense. So, you know, with that, I'll leave us a comment piece. Islam. Is there anything Islam? Is there any
Islam. Oh yeah, brother, you got it. You can close out Islamism without the schism.
Islam? Islam. January 15th, 1929. One second. One second. I gotta get to ooh. January 15th, 1929. A warning from the prophet to be read. Excuse me. This to be read at every meeting. I hereby inform all citizens that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequences. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any citizen or group of citizens who hold malicious feelings towards the government or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card button, cease wearing their turban, and Fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the government is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the government. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways by order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Chapter 25, Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation. Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother hath given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Peace, and peace be upon you, Islam.
Great class. Gratitude. Peace and love, family.
Great class, beautiful measures, Islam.
Peace and love. Peace and love to the scribe. Peace and love to the family. Peace and love to the nation. We want to give honors to everybody and everybody that checked in. You know, our family, creator inspired. Y'all be sure to, like I say, like, share, and subscribe. Noble Brian, Gary Miles Bay, Avenge the Ancestors, Born Dog, honors to you. Muhammad Ismail, Proximia Centari B, Tyrif Bay, you know, Cena Renee, Noble Brian. Yeah, we want to give honors to all of y'all for checking in, family. And may these lessons be useful to all of those who are seeking to know more, you know, because that's what we're here to demonstrate. We gonna always bring the sources to back up what it is that we have, you know. So that being said, see you later, family. Peace, love, and law at all costs. Y'all know we love you with love divine. Don't let nobody tell you nothing different. All right now. All right, see you Moors in Sunday school.
Islam.
You too. Peace and love.
Peace and love. All right, family. See y'all later, man. You know, and we just say gratitude. Y'all stay on the front line, and we're gonna keep it going. You know what? Since I'm closing out, I'm gonna close out with this track real quick. Yeah, I gotta put this one out there because I ain't been really putting it out there. I'm gonna get some more. I got some more Moorish music for y'all too, family. Let y'all hear that debate Coliseum. You know, so let's see.
Yeah. True Mahafa, AGS Damari. Y'all know what time it is. Place your bets. Source off the shitter. Alpha Village Dumb. Debate Coliseum, you pseudo sideline. Yeah, I got plenty motion. You blind, leave the blind. I'm in the HOK, sourced up and ready. I got the drop on every op. Yeah, who wanna test me? Debate Coliseum, you pseudo sideline. Yeah, I got plenty motion. You blind, leave the blind. I'm in the HOK, sourced up and ready. I got the drop on every op. Yeah, who wanna test? Stepping with a cane and top had to match. A Lord of Ice, supreme ruler, that's right in his act. Double or nothing, 2 for 1. That's how I'm coming. Do the math and do the knowledge. I'm March 100. And I stay repping at 5. Who wanna see me live? Got a murder man vibe. Bodies in my archives. When I up my source, just up the score cause it's a rap. And I be that morphin. You don't remember he was cap caught blabber lacking in his babble. Ran down on him. The real driller from Manila. I slid over homie. I took his feds. He was fake and he was false flag. And I'm here to rep that right way. And I'ma keep spazzing. Behind my people I stand on business. Yeah, I'm crashing out. And if you cross my golden path, yeah, I'm flashing out. Got a bucket list of future bodies in my inventory. My peer reviews are undisputed. You can keep the glory. Every appeal to authorities just to cry for help. And intellectual cowards, they die 1,000 deaths. Who really want it with me? I stay war ready. Round for round, got 100 slides. Who wanna test me? Debate Coliseum, you see those sidelines. Yeah, I got plenty motion. You blind, lead the blind. I'm in the HOK, sourced up and ready. I got the drop on every out. Yeah, who wanna test me? Debate Coliseum, you see those sidelines. Yeah, I got plenty motion. You blind, lead the blind. I'm in the HOK, sourced up and ready. I got the drop on every out. Yeah, who wanna test me? The green light, I'ma whack 'em all. It's time to clean up the platform and tax 'em all. Know it like you owe it. The elder sent me for it. Retaliation is a must, and that canopus bogus. It's pseudo killer to kill when I'm in the battlefield. They say steel sharp and steel, my real isn't real. Yeah, this that simmer talk, and I'm ready to drill. Train to go and fully equipped to break that Roman seal. Grinding the powder can get power to the masses. If it's smoke, then it's smoke, I'ma get axe. Tell them come with it. Done did it, we split it, they can all get it. I got 7 deadly venom, been sick with it. I can behead them in public and still get acquitted. I put in work on house niggas and tell them I hit them. I'm that runaway slave they wanna capture. I took the whip from his hand and punished master. He's just another widow son of a bastard. I wage war on infidels and call them captors. It's our net to give me that card in your chapter. Knowledge is power, test mine, and I'ma smash it. Coliseum, you see those sidelines. Yeah, I got plenty motion. You blind, lead the blind. I'm in the HOK, sourced up and ready. I got the drop on every out. Yeah, who wanna test me? Debate Coliseum, you see those sidelines. Yeah, I got plenty motion. You blind, lead the blind. I'm in the HOK, sourced up and ready. I got the drop on every out. Yeah, who wanna test me?
Come on, man. Y'all gotta stop talking when I'm putting my sound effects on. I'm saying I'm old for a reason. You see that young champion, the future champ in the building, god damn it. He ain't afraid to pop up in this room, huh? He ain't afraid. Y'all playing yourself. That's right. Yeah, what you talk that talk.
Most definitely, family. Already know, family, the best is yet to come. You know, but yeah, we definitely try to utilize all our talents, to give our people some insight. If y'all pay attention, we was definitely dropping some bars in there, and the best is yet to come. I'm gonna just say that we in the lab again, getting ready to bring something else to the manifest. So y'all stay on point, and you can find that if you go to my channel. You can find that track, and it's called "Who Want to Test Me." Debate Coliseum, so to speak. So we give honors to your family. We love you. Uncle Ajet Seneb, Shimo Tepu. See you in the next session.